Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kvaham tamo mahadaham kacharagnivarabhu. Sangvestithanda khata sapta vitasti karya. Vedrig vida viganithanda paranucharya. Vatadvaroma vivarasya chate mahitvam. What am I, a small creature measuring 7 spans of my own hand? I am enclosed in a pot-like universe composed of material nature, the total material energy, false ego, ether, air, water, and earth. And what is your glory? Unlimited universes pass through the pores of your body just as particles of dust pass through the openings of a screened window. Purport. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 5, Text 72, Srila Prabhupada gives the following purport for this verse. When Lord Brahma, after having stolen all Krishna's cows and cowherd boys, returned and saw that the cows and boys were still roaming with Krishna, he offered this prayer in his defeat. A conditioned soul, even one so great as Brahma, who managed the affairs of the entire universe, cannot compare to the personality of Godhead. For he can produce numberless universes simply by the spiritual rays emanating from the pores of his body. Material scientists should take lessons from the utterances of Sri Brahma regarding our insignificance in comparison to God. In these prayers of Brahma, there is much to learn for those who are falsely puffed up by the accumulation of power. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Volume 1, Chapter 14, Srila Prabhupada further comments on this verse. Lord Brahma realized his actual position. He is certainly the supreme teacher of this universe, in charge of the production of material nature, which consists of the complete material elements, false ego, sky, air, fire, water, and earth. Such a universe may be gigantic, but it can be measured, just as we measure our own body as 7 spans. Generally, everyone's personal bodily measurement is calculated to be 7 spans of his hand. This particular universe may appear to be a very gigantic body, but is nothing but the measurement of 7 spans for Lord Brahma. Aside from this universe, there are unlimited other universes outside the jurisdiction of this particular Lord Brahma, just as innumerable atomic infinitesimal fragments pass through the holes of a screened window. So millions and trillions of universes in their seedling form are coming out from the bodily pores of Mahavishnu. And that Mahavishnu is but a part of the plenary expansion of Krishna. Under these circumstances, although Lord Brahma is the supreme creature within this universe, what is his importance in the presence of Krishna? We are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, entitled Brahma's Prayers to Lord Krishna. Text 11. The Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahapurana, the greatest of all literatures, the Amala Purana, which is completely pure, reveals lessons to humanity in a most powerful and convincing way. In some Vedas, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, they are praised as God, worshipped. And taking all that into consideration, these most powerful personalities in the entire universe, not a single one of them can any human possibly compare to, as far as wealth, power, knowledge, whoever we are. A great yogi, use some gold, may be able to travel from Badrikashram in the Himalayas by chanting mantra to Prayag in a matter of seconds, under the water of the Ganga, may be able to read minds, may be able to make curses and kill people. But what is such a person compared to Indra? Do they have control over the Samvataka clouds that devastate the entire universe? Or Brahma, who could be the grandfather of every living being within the universe, with such a lifespan? So these great devas, they supply us all the necessities of life. They provide the earth, the rain, the fire. And therefore, Vedic literatures teach that we should be grateful. There's no possibility of any real spirituality unless we're grateful. Unless we humble ourselves before superior people. This is fundamental, basic. Otherwise, so-called religion, spirituality, whatever we may call it, it's all just an external, mundane exercise. Unless it teaches us how to be humble and grateful. So the Vedic literatures teach us to be humble and grateful toward all the gifts we receive in every aspect of our life. Devarshi Putaptininam Pitrinam. But then we learn that if we worship Krishna, we have fulfilled the obligation of worshiping every one of the devas, all of our ancestors, forefathers, and anyone else who has ever provided anything for us. Just like watering the root of the tree. You see, when you water the root of the tree, it's not that you're neglecting everyone else. Sometimes devotees have this misconception. I do not have to respect anyone if I worship Krishna. But then that mentality is not worshiping Krishna really at all. Amanina manadena. If we're worshiping Krishna properly, we offer our respects to every living being. And that's actually what it means. When you water the root of the tree, naturally the water goes to every leaf, branch, twig, flower, and leaf. So similarly, if we actually serve Krishna, if we actually develop love for Krishna, then our love, our respect, our attitude of service will naturally extend to every living being. It doesn't negate every living being. It includes every living being. But if we don't water the root of the tree, then we're not really doing much of anything for any flower or leaf or branch. We can pour water on them, but it's external, it's superficial. It cannot reach the soul. We cannot reach the soul, the heart of anyone, unless we access Krishna. When we worship Krishna, our worship satisfies all the demigods, all the forefathers, all living beings. And to graphically, in the most extreme case where there's no possible room for loopholes or justifications, Krishna teaches the lessons through the topmost powerful personalities. In this case, to humble ourselves. You see, if you humble yourself before God, you're humble before everyone, because you're humble. It's not that I'm humble before God, but I'm an egomaniac in front of anybody else. It's not possible. That means it's just a superficial exercise of humbling yourself before God. If you humble before God, that means you're actually humble, truly, genuinely humble. And therefore, you'll be humble in every situation. Humility doesn't mean weak. Humility doesn't mean cowardly. Actual humility is the most powerful strength because it accesses God's power. But it means nothing is mine. I am small. And if we're actually humble, then we will accept God's will above our own will. We can offer so many dandavats to everybody, but if we're still attached to my way, then we're still ego. What is God's way? What is Krishna's way? That's humility. What is your wish? So we have found, well, here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, in this chapter, we're hearing Brahma's prayers. In future chapters, we're going to see how Indra is totally humbled. in the Govardhan Puja Lila, and he offers prayers. Later on, we're going to find this battle between Shiva and Krishna. And Shiva is totally humbled. And Krishna really humbled him. We read in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's explanations in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, where after Shiva surrenders, Krishna said, "There is no one that hates me more than you." Can you imagine saying that? That really humbled Shiva. Vaishnavanam yata shambhu. And then Krishna said, "I'm only saying these things because I have to teach a good lesson to the world through you." And Varuna, the sea, most of the earth is covered by the seas. He's very powerful. If a tsunami comes from the sea, what are you going to do? Are you going to shoot a nuclear bomb against it? It'll only make it worse. Are you going to have your computer and the finest software to try to delete it? Doesn't work. There's nothing you can do. The sea is very powerful. If the sea wants to, at a certain point, the people are very much concerned with global warming, that the sea could cover it. New York City, Los Angeles, Bombay will be converted to just a bay. Unless it's bombed first. So Varuna is offering prayers to Krishna. So here we have the most powerful of all living beings, Lord Brahma. And such a graphic contrast between the opulence of Brahma in Brahmaloka and the Aishwarya, the opulences that he is constantly manifesting. And little Gopal was still in his Kumar Lila. He's taking care of the calves. When he enters his Poganda Lila, he gets the cows. So that means he's not even 5, 6 years old. And he's playing with the boys. They go to the pastures. They get little stones. And they throw them at the fruits of the tree. And if they hit the fruit falls. And then they share it with each other and eat it. Why does Krishna have to throw a stone to get a fruit? This is his Leela. He's just playing just like an ordinary boy. And he's wrestling and dancing and singing with his friends, and they are doing the same for him. Krishna will dance like a peacock, and all his friends will clap. And then they will dance like peacocks, and Krishna and Balaram will clap. In this way, they're simply equals. And Brahma, after Aghasura was liberated, he sees Krishna and the Gopas sitting and taking prasad together on the bank of Yamuna. And one boy is saying, "Krishna, this is so nice. My mother made it." And he takes it and a bite out of it and chews it, and he's, "Oh, "This is so nice, Krishna, you must try some." Krishna is very hungry, very eager to take food right out of the mouth of these little cowherd boys. Great Brahmins are performing yagyas and offering. The flames of the yagya are like the tongue of the Lord. And with mantras and with precision ritual, they are making offerings. And Krishna is just grabbing food out of his devotees' mouths. And one boy says, "Krishna, open your mouth and close your eyes." Krishna opens his mouth and closes his eyes. And one of the boys takes a samosa that his mother makes and empties out the filling and fills it with flowers. And Krishna eats it. And flowers are not very nice to taste. So he makes a very disgusted kind of look. And everybody claps and laughs that, "Look what I did to Krishna." And sometimes they chase each other. "Why did you do this to me?" So this is Vrindavan. So Brahma's seeing this. How did he kill Bhagasura? He knows he's God. But Krishna's childlike pastimes were so ordinary and so sweet that even Brahma became overcome and thinking, how could he be God if he's doing these things? He's just a child. But he is God, but at the same time. So he decided to manifest his own opulences before Krishna. By taking away all the calves and the little boys. And we have discussed in previous classes how for Krishna it was just another Leela. Just by his desire, he expanded himself instantly of every boy and every calf. There were unlimited cows and calves. Calves and boys. And each one was an exact replica. So identical that even the mother cows and the mother father of the children didn't have the slightest suspicion that there was anything wrong or different for one full year. Quite incredible. The only difference was they never loved their children so much. And they were very curious about that. Why is it that we love our children just like we love Krishna? But they never suspected that it could be anyone but their children. And then when they went out to play, even when the parents weren't around, they played with each other with exactly the same relationships as they always had. This is thorough. And Brahma comes back a year later and he sees everything's exactly the same. And he became totally bewildered. He was going to see where these children were that were sleeping. They were there, but they were here. They were there, but they were here. Why? How? Krishna then manifested every little calf as Vishnu Narayan. And every cowherd boy became Vishnu. Now for Brahma, there is one Vishnu who's the absolute supreme one God of all gods. And Brahma worships Vishnu as the one God. And here he's seeing hundreds and thousands of Vishnus. all absolutely identical with each other. And he sees each calf as Vishnu. Each little boy is Vishnu. But Krishna didn't just leave it like that. He saw all the demigods and all the sages and all the rishis around each Vishnu, worshiping and offering prayers. Now for Brahma, it takes a lot to impress him. You know, if you give a billionaire a gift of 50 rupees, it's not very impressive. There's not much that any of us could do to impress Lord Brahma. Yes, what? Are we going to show him how strong we are? Are we going to show him how intelligent we are? Are we going to I saw in news that a few days ago, the oldest person on earth died. Just a couple days ago. The oldest person in the planet. She was 116 years old. It's impressive, isn't it? Living 116 years. And she said she owes her life to a good diet and clean living. But do you think Brahma's impressed by that? He lives 311 trillion years. And in 311 trillion years, he never gets sick once. Never even gets a cold. Can you imagine? Never has to see a doctor. Doesn't have to watch his diet. Doesn't have to go to the gym and do exercises. He is in perfect health from his birth until he goes back to Godhead. So what can we do to impress Brahma? We could memorize verses. Brahma's the origin of all Vedas, and he doesn't write anything down. He knows all the Vedas by memory. But this little cowherd boy, he really impressed Brahma. When he manifested these Vishnus, because this is what you have to do to Brahma. Brahma was not only impressed, he was totally bewildered. He couldn't say a word. He forgot who he was. He forgot where he was. He forgot why he was. He lost the power to even blink his eyes. He just stood there, completely conquered. And suddenly, all the Vishnus disappear, and little Gopal, just exactly as he was exactly 1 year before he played his Leela on Brahma, he still had that little lump of food in his hand, and he was innocently looking, where is my calves? Where is my friends? And for Brahma, this is supernatural, because it was the same lump of food. And it was dahi. Dahi, rice, and fruit. Yes? Now, how long without refrigeration Even with refrigeration, what to speak without refrigeration? How long does dahi and fruit remain fresh? It was in Krishna's hand for 1 year. And it was absolutely fresh. That in itself would bewilder Brahma. What to speak of everything else he had just saw. At that point, Brahma totally humbled himself because he recognized Krishna is everything and I am nothing. Just like there's that famous story of one of our most powerful, influential leaders of our society. He was Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, he gave a nice analogy. He said, in the cosmic manifestation, there are unlimited universes. And within this universe, there are so many countries. And this is just a tiny, insignificant universe in the cosmic manifestation. And this country of America is a tiny little place compared to the universe, this Earth planet. And within the Earth planet, tiny little place. And within the United States of America, Los Angeles is just a little place. Within Los Angeles, this house that we're living in, this temple, is just an insignificant place. And you, just one little devotee, is just a little tiny person in this house, and you think that you are the Lord. Said you are insignificant. Now, you can't use that analogy with Lord Brahma. We are really insignificant compared to Brahma. But Lord Brahma, he was watching Krishna. He saw the Aghasura. He saw Vrindavan. He stole all the kids from Vrindavan, all the calves. But he never saw Vrindavan. He was seeing but not seeing. After he totally humbled himself, no false ego, then suddenly he saw Vrindavan. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Unless our eyes are anointed with the salve of love, we cannot see Krishna. We cannot see what is Vrindavan. There is seeing and there's actual seeing. Because we cannot see Vrindavan with our eyes. We can only see Vrindavan through the love of our hearts. So even Brahma, the original guru and father of the whole universe, as long as he had this ego, he was right there in Vrindavan, but he couldn't see it. It was only after he was totally smashed, totally bewildered, totally humbled, that he could see, what are these trees? They're kalpavriksha trees. What is this river Yamuna? It's a stream of flowing prema bhakti descending from the spiritual world. What are these blades of grass? They're eternally liberated, divine lovers of God. What are these cows? They're kamadhenus. They could fulfill every wish of every heart. He was seeing every atomic particle of Vrindavan as unlimitedly invaluably sacred. But it wasn't until every drop of his ahankar or ego was transcended. So it's at this state that Brahma begins his prayers. He comes down off of his swan carrier and offers his full prostrations, dandavats, with his crowns at the feet of little Gopal. And Gopal's not even paying attention to him. He's holding his little Krishna surprise prasad and looking around, where's my friend? Who's this? And Chaitanya Charitamrita describes a similar situation in Dwarka, where Lord Brahma comes to visit Krishna. And the gatekeeper asks, yes? He says, I want to see Krishna. Tell him that Brahma has come. So the gatekeeper goes in and comes out and says, Krishna wants to know which Brahma. And this was shocking for Brahma. He said, tell him the Brahma with 4 heads. Because nobody else has 4 heads in this universe. So Krishna keeps him waiting. Then the person comes out. He says, oh, okay, 4-headed Brahma, you could come in. But in the meanwhile, Krishna invited other Brahmas. So when 4-headed Brahma came in, he saw an 8-headed Brahma, a 16-headed Brahma, a 32-headed Brahma, a 64-headed Brahma, a 128-headed Brahma. He saw Brahmins with hundreds of heads, thousands of heads, and millions of heads. Now you may think, these must be some kind of freaks. How do you get around with 1 million heads in one body? One body with 1 million heads. Would you like to be like that? You're thinking it must be very ugly and strange and weird and deformed. But actually, this is Krishna's creation. His 1 million heads means he's 1 million times more beautiful and more wonderful than any of us. He's constructed in such a way that it's absolutely beautiful. You see, everything's relative. It's just like if you have a forest with 1 million beautiful flowering kadamba trees, that's better than even one, isn't it? So Krishna creates in such a way that he's absolutely beautiful. And once you see a Brahma with 1 million heads, then if somebody just has 4, you think, God, who's that? So Brahma, when he saw all these things, he felt like he was a mosquito in a herd of elephants. And then Krishna told all the other Brahmas, yes, thank you for your reports, now go back to your respective universes. And only this one Brahma remained, our Brahma. And then he had the proper understanding of Krishna, because all of them were all offering their prayers and giving their reports to Krishna. So Brahma begins his prayers by speaking about Krishna's beautiful little form as a cowherd boy. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This is composed by Brahma. That Krishna, your form, is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. You are the Paramishwar. I'm an Ishvara, so many Ishwaras, but you are the supreme controller of all controllers. You're the cause of all causes. You're the source of everything. And this, now I'm understanding who you are. This beautiful form of yours, which is dark like a monsoon rain cloud. You have a little stick for herding cows and a flute for entertaining your devotees. And you have a little peacock feather in your hairs. This beautiful form of yours is the source of all that exists. Now I understand. And he continues on by telling how your garment is brilliant like lightning. The beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings. And wearing beautiful forest flower garlands. Now gunja is just a simple little seed. You have all seen. It grows in Vrindavan. It's usually red and white, sometimes blackish. Those little seeds. And if somebody were just walking around, compared to other things, it wouldn't be so beautiful. But the gopis love to make, and the gopas also, when they're in the castor grounds, they make little garlands of these gunja seeds, these buds. And when they're on Krishna, they're unlimitedly beautiful. And they are very dear to Krishna because they're offered by his cowherd boys. And Brahma, he tells how there is no possibility of understanding this form of Krishna, who Krishna really is, even by the most profound, deep study of all Vedas, of logic, of philosophy, even the greatest scholars. Because Krishna is achintya. He is inconceivable. He's beyond the reach of any material resource that we have. We must use our intelligence, we must use our mind, we must use our skills in order to understand Krishna and facilitate, to serve Krishna. But Krishna is unlimitedly beyond. How can we understand? Even Brahma says, through this process of speculative knowledge, of research, no one ever can reach the end of who Krishna is. It's only possible through bhakti. He explains through tapasya, through cultivation of knowledge,